The Mind Reels with Vincent Cloud.
And Scotty Allwood. Hi, hello. I'm over here.
Yeah, and I'm over here most days.
But we're here together. We're here together
Yes.
to discuss a movie because this is the Mind Reels.
Yes, and what movie? None other than 1995's Heavyweights, which is kind of it's a little esoteric to some people. People are like, heavyweights, what do you mean? Is that a boxing movie? I'm like, no, not at all. But there are butter beans in there. So there you go. He was a boxer once. It's fine. It's fine. So now let's travel back to 1995, Scott, and start at the beginning of the film, which is the last day of school. People are trashing the fucking halls.
My God. The school bell rings and people are just throwing any paper they could find. There has to be was it part of the deal that the end of the school year, you had to save up all the paper homework from the year and throw it at the end? Because I also was kind of like confused. Was this a visual joke? Like, was this supposed to be as funny as it seems, where paper and garbage is just falling for the first 3 minutes of this movie nonstop? I loved it.
I don't know. Yeah, it was good. The janitors didn't like it. That's their fucking Black Friday. You know what I mean? We meet our main protagonist, right?
Right.
But what is he
Jerry
doing?
With the G.
What is our first impression of Jerry?
He is a little pervert because he walks outside and the first thing that you see is kind of just this jock and cheerleader going at it, like, oh, as we used to do with the cheerleaders back in after school. But no, like, the first thing, let's talk about their perspective. The first thing they want to do after school's over is just make out, horny little shits. No, I mean, we used to be like that. Anyway, back to our main character, though. Jerry was walking out, and he just stares at this couple kissing who are full on making out. And he doesn't stare just a quick glance and then move on with his life. He walks out and stares for at least 4 to 5 seconds. And that doesn't sound like a long time, but if you count it out, that's a long stinking time, Vince. Like, check it out. Like, pretend I'm the couple and I'm going to count it out. Long time.
Long time to make out or long time to look at people making out? Are you one of those guys who are like, enough, babe? Enough.
Right. After 5 seconds of making out, I'm over it. Let's get to the end.
Okay, so he finally gets back to his house. The fucking music's done, and his parents are waiting for him with that actor, something. I don't remember.
Jeffrey Tambor.
Well, that's his dad. That's cool. But the guy waiting for him, like Blake Nelson.
Oh, I don't know who that person is.
But doesn't he come off kind of creepy? Like, hi. Hey, Jerry, you want to go to a camp? You know, he's like super smiley and almost like brainwashed or something like that. It's super weird. And I'm like, interesting choice.
Because how the camp actually is at this point is a very fun, cool place to be. And like you said, he is coming off very strangely.
Yeah.
Like, why would you send this person?
Right. So we'll have that part. And then jumping forward just a little bit, when he actually arrives, remember that kid with the stick? He's like, he's just kind of going like that, kind of freaking him out. That doesn't tie in. Camp Hope is actually nice up to that point. So yeah, there's some flaws in the movie, Scott, and we see through them, right?
That's what you get with these detailed responses from us. Don't you fuck around 25 years ago, because we'll come at your ass. Like you said, we're introduced to Nurse Julie. Pat likes her. So if Pat likes her, then I like her.
Yeah, but he's offered the chance to show her around. And he's like, I don't know where I don't know. You know, he instantly strikes out, man, with a woman who could, from what I can tell, she is a chubby chaser, man. They do exist out there, Scott.
Okay. She ends up being a chubby chaser, but I don't think she gave off any vibes immediately besides just being cute that she was into Pat.
She
Did she?
plays it cool.
She played it
I don't know.
too
There's
cool because she is cool. And that's why Pat likes her. Not just because she's pretty. She's obviously pretty
well, why didn't she go for Lars though? If you don't think she's a chubby chaser, answer that.
because Lars is an asshole immediately and throughout forever. Until the end, actually, he comes around because he's threatened. but yeah, so I like the little back and forth. I do remember thinking before I watched it, there was some kind of being a fat guy going after a cute girl and being scared of that. And I didn't remember, I thought it was with one of the kids, but it turned out to be Pat, which made me like it even more because now I'm like 34-year-old single dude going, oh, maybe some girl out there is a chubby chaser and she'll be okay to come after a fella like me.
Yeah, man. I mean, her dad was probably fat. That's what I'm guessing.
Why are we even talking about this? What the hell? All right.
I don't know. I
So
don't know. Okay. So next week we go into the cabin. Chipmunks. Captain says, "Hey, man, I brought some candy or whatever," and he's like, "Oh yeah, chipmunks, download." And that's when they fucking like the hollowed out posts of the bunk, and like there's a big hole in the ground. And people got shit strapped to them like fucking dynamite, but it's like
yes,
baloney and
yes.
stuff like that.
I was gonna mention one of the kids has salamis taped to it, like duct tape to his back, and I just love the fact that some kid brought some salami. Like he's like, "Oh, I got to get snacks. Hey, do we have foot long salamis that I can strap on real quick?" Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's so weird. Real quick, this reminds me that one time I had a roommate who was a heavier set gal, real cool. Um, but I remember one day I was locked out of the house, and I didn't have my key on me. I was drunk as shit, and I was like, "Oh God, I gotta break into my own place." But only her window was unlocked, so I crawl in there. And when I'm in there and I fall down to the floor, I look under her bed is like a case of cookies, an entire box of cookies. I'm like, damn.
Does she know this story?
No. And hopefully she doesn't listen to podcasts or watch
Oh
them.
no! Oh no!
She's a
No!
she's a good chick. Good chick.
All right. Well, at least she's a good gal. But they're so they're all taking off candy everywhere. There's a character that has like he takes off his shirt, but it's all melted to him. And Josh is like from the background, "Hey, grab a taste." So the kid like takes his hand and just wipes it across the melted chocolate and licks it. And then they all just dive onto him, just I'm like eating this melted chocolate off of this little kid. It's so funny to me.
Yeah, and it's the redhead guy with the glasses. He does the first taste, and I'm like, is that the same guy from Mighty Ducks? Remember there was a redheaded dude with glasses, and
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, he's in here too, just because Keenan and Josh are in this movie, and I think this was right after D2.
Right.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it's not the same
But it's not.
person though, right?
It's
Right.
no, it's not. I'm just saying, like when I watched it, I'm like, oh my god, they got everyone. Where's Emilio?
Where's Emilio? Emilio.
Okay, so now let's get into the little segment of the Blob. We finally get to see that in action. People are like, it looks fucking fun. I've
Have
never
you
done the
ever?
Blob. Have you?
I was gonna say, have you ever done the Blob? Because I have not, and I was hoping that you would have experienced that because I don't know of a situation to where we'll ever be able to at this point in our lives.
In a way, I did. That roommate I was mentioning, we hooked up once. Oh, that's a terrible joke. All right. So next we get to the part with the under new management. This scene's crazy.
But yeah, so
Okay.
Lars comes into the picture. He places himself in the chipmunk bunk. We just see him snoring. Everybody hates him because of it. And this is where I start to kind of hate the kids a little bit because I'm a snorer. And I'm like, if they hate Lars, they would hate me too. And I don't mean to snore. It's just part of me.
Yeah, again, that shouldn't have anything to do. I guess I want everything to mean something, because it's like, well, do fat kids just hate snoring? No. You know, if you snore, you might not like, I don't know. I always felt like that was a weird thing they threw in there. I'm like, so he snores. But wait, do you have a deviated septum like Lars?
No, I'm just overweight, and that helps people snore, I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. How do you know you snore? People say it?
Pretty much anytime I ever stay anywhere, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're like totally snoring so loud," and I'm like, "I'm so sorry. Please don't hate me."
Oh, Lars, we don't hate you. You're
Oh,
just foreign. The next thing I have is Lars in the buddy system. He hits on Julie, or tries to.
yes.
Yes.
That's pretty much it. I mean, he like comes out just pushing kids into the water. And he's like, huh, huh, "Hey, how's it going?" And she is not into it, which makes us like her even more because she's got a heart of gold.
Yeah. But okay. All right. I'm just saying. I mean, Chubby Chaser. Lars isn't a bad looking dude, you know. And
No,
from
but
what I could tell,
he's pushing children into water and without their even knowledge.
at a
How does
summer
he?
camp, no.
How is he not a bad dude? It's not, listen, like it's not because he's pushing them into water. It's because they don't like him, and he's aggressively pushing them into the water. It's not a fun like he got you, and they're looking back going, "Oh, Lars," he is going, "Ugh!" And they're going, "Oh."
I'm gonna be Lars' advocate for a second here, because he's like, I got them on the body system, which is a good system. Are you
Now that you
gonna
mention it, like, okay, so the fact that he's pushing him in, he could be thinking, "Oh, this is going to connect me with the kids. This is fun for everybody. I'm being playful and still doing my job because I have him on the buddy system." God damn it, you just convinced me that he's a good guy and I want him to end up with Julie.
He is a good guy. Remember, he turns. He's actually kind of cool at the end. So I feel like there's a lot of hatred. I mean, you just sided with me about the snoring thing. You were like, well, how could you hate him because he snores? It's kind of superficial, like, oh, we're just meant to hate Lars because he's foreign.
Got the
You know what I
accent,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think it's justified.
You know
really.
what? We're Lars fans because he even
Yeah.
dresses up at the very end, and that's very fun.
And at the dance, he's the only one who's into it.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. We love Lars. We never knew. We never knew.
Okay, so this scene, I thought this girl was kind of mean to do this. She like just, walks away from the crowd right up to the guys, and the guys are like, oh my gosh.
Jeez, she's coming over.
What's happening? And it's like slow motion. She's backlit and stuff like that. And she's like, hi, do you know where the bathroom is? And they're all like, slowly point to the bathroom that's right behind them. I feel like she clearly knew where the bathroom was, but this was a typical mean girl move. And I didn't really care for her.
You forget she's also a child, and children are fucking stupid. They're not thinking beyond what they're doing, man. She probably went, "Oh, I'm about to piss my panties. I gotta go find this bathroom very soon."
No.
Who might know? These fat guys might, since this is their camp. That's all there was to this.
No, I have to disagree. What I meant by when you said, "Oh, she's a child," she didn't know what she was doing. I assumed that you said you were agreeing with me, like, yeah, she did this on purpose, but she didn't realize just how fucking cruel that was. to a young boy. Like you get all these young men like, oh my god, are you looking at me? And she's like, yeah, I have to fucking pop a squat. Where's the shitter, you fucks? You know.
But after this, she's seen dancing with all the other kids as well. So she's not, I don't think she's doing anything malicious with the intent to be malicious.
Okay, she actually dances with Jerry.
Yeah.
But I would, if I was Jerry, I'd be like,
But
I
she
don't know.
doesn't give him a hand job, so she's a bitch.
No. Okay,
That's where you're.
I have a thing called pride, and it has hurt me several times in terms of getting laid. Like if a girl like slights me once, but then a year later she's like, "You're actually kind of cute now because you went through puberty." I'm like, "Back off, bitch." And that's what I felt like Jerry should have done. Like if she was like, "You want to dance?" and he's like, "Bathrooms are over there." Remember that?
Bathrooms are over there. Oh my gosh. No, this is exactly why we are miserable people. All right. Because we can't get over the small stuff like that. I'm happy that Jerry got over that. All right. I want to be
Right.
like Jerry. I want to get over small, stupid shit. But I can't. I latch onto it just like you. It's broken down go-kart, and then Pat walks up and they talk about how like the place stinks now and it didn't used to always be like that. Jerry's like, I've never ridden a go-kart. I'm so slow. It would have been nice to be going fast. And I'm like, oh. And then Pat's like, you know what? You're about to go fast out tonight, boy. Jumps behind him. Like starts running around this go-kart course with them. And just, it's such a fucking cool, beautiful moment between this adult male and this young kid who, you know, like they're kind of looking up to each other, I guess is how I look at this, because there's a scene not too long after this where Jerry like reminds Pat of who he is and what he's doing. And that's right. Helping these kids. So it was just kind of it's one of my favorite. It's one scene that kind of stuck out to me. When I watched it again, I went, oh my God, this is bringing back so many emotions I had when I was a kid watching this movie, because it's a cool moment.
Oh, for sure. The cynical man in me now noticed this, where he's like looking around, and I'm sure he saw in his peripheral, oh, Julie's got to watch this. She's out on her balcony. She's gonna get so wet.
Yeah. She's gonna get so wet. You know, now that you say that, I didn't notice that he was like looking around. They did have the clips of her kind of watching, and she's pretty lit up. So there's no way he missed her being over there. So he's not being good to be a good guy. But we know he is a good guy. So it's okay. We'll give him a pass. Well, at least I will.
Which leads to our next scene where Jerry's like, hey, man, at least you tried. And they start yelling at Camp MVP from across the lake, like, you could keep your washboard abs or something like that. You're a bunch of jerks.
And this is one of the scene that I was talking about earlier where Pat was like being there for Jerry, and now Jerry's being there for Pat. So it was just kind of fun that they had that back and forth for each other.
Yeah, and this moment where they're like, they're jerks. You guys suck. Keep your low blood pressure and, like healthiness and shit. But I also wanted to be like, hey, man, there's some people that, especially when I was watching it at my age, I was like, well, I'm not fat. I'm not a jerk. And I dated a woman who should, by all accounts, be extremely overweight, but she never could. It was just her fucking metabolism. Like, she ate horribly, I ate horribly, I gained weight, she never did. And she would always she would get mad for people talking about how skinny she was or whatever. And remember that there was a movie called Real Women Have Curves?
I do not. No, I have no idea what that movie is now.
It's some fucking random movie in the video store. But she would always take offense to that. She's like, you know what, people get, make fun of the fat, but then are, criticized for it, but no one ever criticized people for making fun of the skinny people. I'm like, you got a point.
Yeah, I mean, I think
And a
people
great
are
ass. Oh.
I think people are very good about recognizing that nowadays, and kind of calling people out on it at this point. But yeah, fortunately, she had a great ass for you the entire time. They had to do a bunch of this stuff because they could have pretended to be meditating, like, oh, meditate, meditate, whisper, 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 meditate, meditate, put some leaves over that hole.
Okay, so the kids show up and they're like, oh my gosh, check out what happened. And they got him in the cage. Julie likes it and believes them that he snapped, which he did. Like, who knows what he would have did to Josh? He could have straight up killed him,
my gosh,
left him on the side of a railroad, like, Stand By Me, Such a needless movie reference, too. Just okay, so, but then Pat's like, oh my gosh, what the, like, he gets in there, he's like, sorry, Tony, this is nuts. And Tony's like, yeah, it is nuts. I'm going to have you fired or some shit like that. Like, immediately being an asshole.
So much
Pat
worse. It wasn't even directed towards his job. It was like, you're the worst type of person in this world. Like, you're worthless. You worthless piece of... I was like, fuck, Tony. Like, I know you're upset, but read the room, man. This guy was the only one here to help.
Read the room.
Read the cage area you're in.
Yeah. read the cage. All right, so now we have what I just wrote down as the overindulgence party. It's at night. There's a fire. There's fucking all the food you could ever possibly want. Fucking Tim is off the wagon. He's like fucking eating food, junk food and shit. And at this moment, Pat and Julie are sitting there, and Pat's like, I should check that out or whatever. And Julie's like, no, stay with me. Takes his hand or whatever.
Oh, so beautiful. Such a great moment.
They fucking hooked up that night, man. Because the next morning, that's when Pat's like, I'm a man now and I'm in charge. And, like, it to be true, Scott.
I didn't even think about that, but that is so funny. Yeah, you're right. They had to, because he changed a lot in a very short time frame.
Yeah, she thought so too.
What?
She's like, that was short. Time
hey,
frame.
You know what? I believe that Pat had it in him to last a long game.
You sure? He's like, it's been years. You're just so pretty. I'm sorry.
Where? Oh my gosh. These are deleted scenes we're talking about here. You didn't see this part because you didn't watch the deleted scenes, and they're not available.
They're in the Disney vault, I'm sure. Okay, so this is where I think, oh yeah, Tony, he's going to get out. He's going to manufacture a chocolate kiss.
Yes.
Out of the tin foil.
Out of aluminum foil, yes.
Yeah, that's yeah, but what did he do though? Didn't he just like overblow the circuits by sticking a fork into this?
That's literally all he did. He put a napkin around the fork and then just like blew the circuits out, and then he like placed his hand out with the kiss going, hey, you've been doing such a good job as the guard. I just wanted to reward you. Like, what? Oops.
Whoops. Butterfingers.
And just straight, get out of here. You let me out of here, you little shit. Oh, fuck.
That's right. That was the British kid, Nicholas, right?
Yes. Poor Nicholas. Falling for the oldest trick in the book. A kiss.
If I was writing this movie, this is the one joke I thought of. He's like, oh, you want a kiss? And then he's like, oops. He drops to the floor. It's like, oops, Butterfingers. Nicholas should have been, you got Butterfingers too?
Ah, that would have been good. That would have been
Yeah,
good. I was wondering where you're going with that, but that was good.
So Tony's dad is like, okay, well, I'm gonna close this. Goodbye. I'll give you guys your money back and shit. And they're like, what? No, we can't have this happen. So it's like, okay, fine. I'll put someone in charge who's been here the longest. Turns out it's Pat with 18 years. He's in
Pat
charge
Finley.
now. Pat what?
Pat Finley was his full name. That's all I said was Pat
Oh,
Finley.
was it? Oh,
Yeah.
no idea. It doesn't suit him. He doesn't look like a Finley.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like a Pat, but yeah. Okay, so now Camp Hope has fully returned. They have the blob. They took Camp MVP's boat engine. What's worse? Driving by saying like, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck, and spray painting some stuff. You know what I mean? Spray painting some stuff, or completely stealing their boat engine.
I didn't think about that, but you're right. I'd say it's pretty fucking bad that they took the entire boat engine. But at the same time, they're Camp MVP. They've got probably 6 other boats over there. They'll be fine.
Why do we assume because they're all skinny and fit that they have the budget for this?
Because they all have matching fucking uniforms for their baseball team.
That's where all the money went. The uniforms. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to argue. All right. So, and then they're also rebuilding the carts because we get to the end. This is like an epilogue, right?
Yeah.
Ben Stiller's gone. I'm like, oh, like when I'm watching this the second time, like he's gone now.
I actually don't have any notes whatsoever for after Papa Burkus. But it's not that I don't enjoy this last part. I just kind of was like, all right, well, the movie's over. Like you said, it feels like an epilogue. I'll just watch this. And it is their little showdown at the end. They have their little race and it's fine. But I don't give a shit really.
So this is the Apache relay, and it's so nice, Scott, as a Native American, to see the cultural appropriation that we see happening right here. So blasé, so casual. Meanwhile, the other camp MVP, they're dressed up in like togas and shit like that. So more cultural appropriation. I don't think all of MVP is all Greek. Am I right?
As a white guy, yeah.
I just thought that it was pretty clever of me to point out that not all the white guys are Greek on that side. If you're going to address one cultural appropriation, you have to address the other. So there you go. Okay, so right now, Camp Hope is far behind. Next is some soccer stuff. Next is some balance beam obstacle course where they have to help the fat kid up there and shit like that. I have one question, though. There's no fat kids that go to MVP?
No. Otherwise, they want to be MVP. Come on now. Come on now.
What kind of camp is this? They call themselves MVP. Is it like, oh, if you were the best on your team, you automatically get to come to Camp MVP? What is Camp MVP? Because Camp Hope is a fat camp. What is that?
It's a very good question because we apparently have Camp Pretty Girls, Camp In Shape Boys, and Camp Out of Shape Boys. So is there a Camp Out of Shape Girls somewhere as well?
Oh, yeah. That's the sequel. Heavyweights 2, 2000. Well, they need some time to film it. 2023. Heavyweights 2, what's the subtitle? Quick.
Overweight. Heavyweights, overweight.
Heavyweights 2, overweights.
Yep.
All right. I'll take it, man. That's cool. All right. And then finally, we come to the go-karts. And Pat souped up this fucking cart.
Cheater.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Listen, they kind of cheated though on the drive though, because the kid like was knocking into him and made him go through the woods. And
True, but okay, say you and I, Scott, we got in a professional boxing fight or whatever, right?
I had souped up gloves
No.
that I could turn on, just like
No. You know what happens? You fight me, but you fight dirty. You like hit the crotch and, you know, like you poke me in the eye and shit like that. But I'm on steroids the whole time. Who's the bigger cheater? The souped up cart. That's what I'm trying to get at, man.
I was really thinking about it too. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, but yeah, you're right. The souped up is, yeah, bad boy.
Yeah. But I mean, come on. Like, what are we kidding? When we were kids, it was great for him to fucking fly off, you know, over the bad guy's cart, get the win, you know. Camp Hope wins, right?
Yay.
And they got the trophy. Yeah, they got the trophy. But remember what the guy says, the other camp leader? He's like, we're going to be filing a complaint or whatever, or a you know, we're not going to accept this loss. The souped up cart. That's probably what it was. Like, this is bullshit.
They really did gloss over that, like, kind of like, no, you guys fucking crazy, whatever, Bert. He's like, throw that shit in the lake so there's no evidence.
No, that was because he's like, oh, is this all that's important to you? Is just winning, right? So he gives it to the one fat kid who never utters a word. He's like super quiet and might be on the spectrum. But like, apparently he just knows to toss it in the lake. Did they talk about this beforehand?
He feels the same way, man. He doesn't need some trophy showing that they won.
Yeah, but I wish he would have uttered. I wish he would have said anything. I think the only thing he says is, he's coming. Yeah.
Right.
So it's just so bizarre that Pat and the kid that seems really fucking delayed knew that this is, hey, kid, maybe that's what he would have done anyways. It's like, by the way, don't ever hand this kid a trophy or anything. He'll toss that shit in the lake. So, yeah. So he's like, the evil camp counselor is like, you're crazy. He's like, yeah, I'm crazy. And he grabs Julie. He's like, crazy about my gal.
Oh, man.
And then
that's the end, basically.